Hi students. So, welcome to the Cornell Note-taking system. So this is a particular way of note-taking that was established and made by Cornell University to help their students, especially their first-year students, to take good notes in order to do well in their course. When they made the system and allowed their students to use it and tested the system, it actually helped improve the students' grades by a whole letter grade. And by using the system for your own readings and for this course, it will probably improve your letter grade too. So this is why I'm showing you in this video. Let's take a look. In this system, we're using the whole paper or book or whatever you're using to its maximum potential. That means you're using all of the notes to actually write information and for you to understand and work with it later. There are three main areas. First, you have the note-taking area, and then you have the cue column, and then you have a summary. Sometimes, often when students write notes, and they use it here like this, they would just take notes from left to right, up and down if you've been taught to write this way. And it's all grouped together like this, and you may find yourself just copying what you hear or maybe what you see. But the problem is, after the lecture is over, you'd forget what you were actually writing about because you're so focused on just copying. Some students may not even copy altogether. Sometimes the lecture is too fast. Sometimes they're distracted or just don't want to do it. So their notes might look something like this, kind of all over the place and very few in between. This makes the problem even worse for you as a student who needs notes. And notes are useful because it's writing. And it's writing is thinking. This system helps you write effectively in the notes that you have and helps you read the notes that you've written and to work with it after the lecture to the full advantage. Let's look at these areas. The first area is the note-taking area. I'm going to make this bigger. So, note-taking area. The note-taking area takes the most space in this system, and this is where you do your copying. Record the lecture as fully and as meaningfully as possible here. What this means for you, for now, is to try and write in full sentences. And not just full sentences that you hear, but try to write in full sentences that you understand. Or rather, if all you had was the set of notes and the lecture slides are all gone, you can actually read from the notes and understand and tell another person, and that person understands what you were talking about. That's what it means by recording the lecture as fully and as meaningfully as possible in this area. The two other areas help you remember your note-taking area and talk about it. So, next you have the column area. This is a column that you write after your lecture, not during. Here are the instructions. It says, while you are in class taking notes, keep this column empty. This means don't write in this. After the class, This is where your 5 to 10 minute break comes in, or maybe after your classes are done if you have a full schedule. But for this class, you have lots of time. So as soon as you're done taking the notes, do this. This is where your summary for your points come in. So it says, reduce your notes to concise jottings as cue for reciting, reviewing, and reflecting. These are the terms that you'll use here in this set of instructions. Remember, the cue column has short notes, short jottings, to help you remember the big stuff, the big points in full sentences that you could explain to another student and they'll understand you. The last part is the summary, which is this section at the bottom of a note page. This section gets you to sum up the whole page of notes in one sentence or two. So this would be like the answer to the question, well, what's all this page about? And you'd say, oh, for example, this page, if I were to take a note on this, maybe to say, oh, well, I might summarize the 3 parts on a Cornell note page. Something like that. Now, that's a sentence fragment, but try to write in a sentence. So you might say something like, this page talks about the 3 parts of a Cornell note page. Something like that. And then you would refer to the cues and saying, oh, well, okay, there is the note-taking area, so that might be note point 1, cue column, that might be point 2, and summaries, that might be point 3, and then you might find these information here, like this. So that might go there, and this would go here. So you can actually practice taking Cornell notes on a Cornell note. Alright, so here's the reason why you have this format. This format provides the perfect opportunity to do the 5 R's of note-taking. So these are the processes you would actually do. First one being to record, which is in the note-taking area. Reduce, that's in the cue area. Recite, this would be after the lecture, you've done the summarizing, so that's part of summary 2, and then after the lecture, you would read your notes, not the lecture slides, not the recording, not the video, but your page. So read your cue column. Talk about the facts and ideas, the lecture as fully as you can in your own words. So this is almost like you giving the lecture. If you can do this, and you can understand what you're saying, or better yet, you talk to another person and they can understand what you're saying, then you know you've learned with this system. Next are steps to help you practice and review, especially for memorizing things, but it also works for rules too. But with rules and skills, you need to actually write, but the notes help you with this. Number 4, to reflect. Draw out opinions from your notes, and this is part of critical thinking, and use them as a starting point in your own reflections and how it relates to other courses. Now, the reason for reflection is to help you do something else with your notes rather than just copying and reading and even talking about it. But you have to do something with it, something different. You have to think, oh, does it work for you? Does it relate to other parts? Maybe a lesson before or after, or a skill that you need to use. So you can do this with your verbs, for example, or your paragraphs, or your summary, or your paraphrasing. Again, this helps you prevent any ideas and skills that you learn from being inert. That means just not moving, or it's just stuck, and then you'd forget about it. It's an active practice. So this is like you critically thinking about your notes. Here, try and relate it with something, your course, and maybe other courses or other parts of the course. And finally, to make it all work together, to help you really remember and use it, this is where the review comes in. So the first part, review, reduce, so that might take the length of the lecture. So that would be during, lecture time and after lecture time plus afterwards. So this might be along the lines of maybe like 1 hour or maybe up to 2 hours right there. Then reflect by itself might take anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. And then review is at least 10 minutes, so maybe along the lines of 10 to 30 minutes. And it says here a quick review of your notes. Now, some students might think, oh, I just read the notes again or read the reflection again, and that's good. Another way of do this, and it's not written here, is maybe to try and test yourself. Write on a blank page. Or post it in the discussion. So whatever you learn, maybe post your reflection, post as if you're teaching someone else what you learned from, let's say, the Cornell Notes system. So instead of just copying and pasting this whole thing, you would use your notes and do your own presentation. This skill would be very useful for your term paper, it will be useful for your presentation as well. So make sure you practice this. So those are the 5 processes: record, reduce, recite, reflect, and review. And the note-taking system has 3 parts: the note-taking area, the cue column, and the summaries, which you will use in every page in this system.